Hey, 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 welcome back everyone. We're playing some Zelda Ocarina of Time. And we're playing on the original Nintendo 64. I've got my original console from when I was a kid. I like to show that. For you guys, I'm not emulating. This is a retro gaming channel, so if you are new here, check out the playlist because there are more Ocarina of Time videos. We have done a full playthrough, and I like to talk about all the different the distinctions between like a version 1 rare cartridge and some of the newer cartridges, but again, this is the Nintendo 64 version. Like I said, check out the playlist because there are certainly things you would have missed if you are new on this channel. I have been playing this game forever. I know it like the back of my hand, and so we are trying to highlight all of those differences, but also just for nostalgia's sake, we're running through the game. So we are actually at the Shadow Temple, and what I need to do actually is go back to being an adult Link, because in the last one we talked about the mysteries of Kakariko Village. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of I'm just gonna call it scary stuff. I think I called it the horrors of the bottom of the well, but then there's also stuff, different histories with Kakariko Village itself, histories of the Sheikah and the royal family, things that we talk about. So definitely check those out. If you haven't, go back and watch those. But we are about to go to the Shadow Temple, and this will be the second to last temple. If you're doing a regular run, you can there are people online who will actually purposely do different different orders to different temples, just because this game has been, so many people have played this game already, and just to keep it fresh, they're doing all sorts of different things, randomizers, stuff like that. Had to remember my Nocturne of Shadow there. We're gonna warp to the graveyard. I am low on magic power, and I am low on hearts. So not only am I gonna go over here because we're gonna enter the Shadow Temple, but I'm also going to try to replenish some of my hearts and stuff while we're over here. By the way, these poses here are different. If you come here as a kid, these are the brothers Flat and the brothers Sharp, which are the musicians. I don't know why I'm fighting these poses. I think it's just because I was trying to explain to you all. Yeah. There he is. You gotta press like you're talking to him. And he gives you a little... If you Z-target, you don't... If you Z-target, it's harder to get him. Yeah! You killed me, huh? Oh, it's you. Did you try to play the Sun Song? Like I told you before? With that song you can turn day to night or night to day whenever you want. When you're in darkness, that song should bring the sun's light to you. You should try it. So he gives you different reactions based on whether you got the Sun Song yet or not, that's also pretty cool. Another funny thing here is if you have an empty bottle, you want to catch it, but you don't have an empty bottle. This is kind of a weird thing, but you can drink a Poe. And what's also interesting is sometimes it will give you health, sometimes it will take health from you. So that's just a weird thing. I don't know. I mean, it's a cool thing, but it's definitely a thing. So, is it this one? I know there are some fairies in here. So at the very least, we're going to replenish our health. before we go into the Shadow Temple. Alright. So we have at least done that. Actually, let's see if there's some grass over here that can give you magic potion and stuff like that. Wow, not a single magic potion. Okay. Oh, there's a little one. That's good to have. We are going to be using, let's see what Navi says, but I'm sure it's just about going to the Shadow Temple now that we have the Lens of Truth. Have you ever played the Nocturne of Shadow that Sheik taught you? Yes, we have. And funny enough, it's the only way up there because this, even though it looks like it should be made of wood, clinks like metal. Why? Who knows? So this is actually the only location that you can't get to on foot. There is, unless you guys know some weird sort of glitch, you cannot get up here unless you have learned the Ocarina song. So that's just another weird thing. Every other temple, every other dungeon that you can warp to the area, you can find a way in. This one you cannot. So it's almost like the Sheikah made it so that no one can get up here unless they are connected to the royal family. So that's an interesting little tidbit as well. We are about to use some magic power. As some of you may recall, if you watched one of my previous videos, you have to get Din's Fire, and the reason is because the torches will go out after a certain amount of time if you try to use your fire arrows. If you have fire arrows, that is. So you can't just turn on your fire arrows, which that makes a cool noise, by the way. The only way to get here is by using Din's Fire. And this is super cool. Check this out. Turns on every single one of those. Alright. I am always a fan of arrows on left C. I don't know why. Do you guys have preferences for which weapons and items you put on left C, down C, and right C? For whatever reason, I always put my hook shot on C right, and I always put my bow and arrow on C left, and my ocarina just kind of lives in the C down position. If you need other items, you can. I try not to put bombs because I always accidentally end up pressing it for whatever reason. So, I don't know. That's just a habit of mine. Back when you played A Link to the Past, you only had one item slot, so there was no other way for you to, there was no other configuration. So in one of what I was explaining earlier, where you can do the temples in a different order, you do not need the long shot to get over here. So you could technically come here after, there is only one requirement, is you have to do I believe it's the water temple you must do before the Shadow Temple, and the only reason is because you don't get Sheik talking to you and teaching you the Nocturne of Shadow to be able to get here, if I remember that correctly. Alright, I am talking way too much, but again, most of you have played this game, but there's always little other things that people don't think about. The shadow will yield only to one with the Eye of Truth handed down in Kakariko Village. Okay, so here we are. We're going to put this Lens of Truth in the C down position. So clearly, you can see, you can walk right through this. And so already, we're in this room. Already looks very creepy, but it looks like we need to go that way. And obviously, there is steel bars, and the fact that you cannot make this jump. That is way too far of a jump. We don't have a hook shot point or anything weird, and there seems to be nothing that we can, you know, walk through or anything weird like that. The only thing we know is only one who has sacred feet can cross the Valley of the Dead. Alrighty, so we already have a hole in the wall right here. Are there any others? Nope, just the entrance. So we're gonna do that. One who gains the Eye of Truth will be able to see what is hidden in the darkness. So, these rooms are just square. And I always found it creepy. I don't know why. I mean, I'm sure the developers absolutely did it on purpose, but if you walk slowly, there are certain eyes of these skulls that are on the walls that light up. And I think it's just the angle at which you walk. So right now, without me moving to my left, if you're looking at the left side of the screen, they light up. And if I move slightly, it's gone. It's moved somewhere else, right? So you can walk around and you can sort of track where the eyes light up on the walls. Shadow Temple. Here is gathered Hyrule's bloody history of greed and hatred. Again, if you walk around, so now it's in front of me over there. And it just sort of moves around. And you keep getting that same message, and it's never not creepy. So, now technically, you know, if you don't have the lens of truth and you're just walking through here, you're like, which way do I go? So we came in through here, right? So let's look around, let's walk around. This is a different door. This is I call them the Star Trek doors. They slide up and down rather than use a doorknob. Okay, so of course we've got some re-deads. I absolutely hate having to fight them like that, so I always prefer that. And we're still not out of this room, so what else is in here? There's a Keese following me around. I think there's another one. Yeah. Let's grab this. I don't know if it's the map or the compass. The map. Alright, so same thing. So something I like to do is I kind of like to pick one direction to go in because alright, so here you'll notice there's actually two of these rooms. So if you keep going around, that's, again, this is where we came in from, so I won't go there. We just came out of that room, and now you'll notice that this takes you to another room that looks just like this. What is hidden in the darkness? Tricks full of ill will. You can't see the way forward. Creepy. We're gonna go around this direction. And now you got pots flying at you. Magic is always good. Now this one's in a corner. So, alright, we're gonna go in here. And holy hell. You thought when you were a kid and you did bottom of the well, and I talked about this in the last one, which is the bottom of the well. You get to the bottom of the well and you fight this dead hand. It is just about the creepiest thing you've ever done. Because you're 8 years old and you come here as Child Link And now you have another one. But there is a very small but important difference in this Shadow Temple's dead hand, and I'm going to tell you what it is. I don't know if it's down to the fact that now you're an adult and you are larger, or if it's actually different, but you guys tell me in the comments below. I think not only are there more hands, or maybe it's the same amount of hands, there's 6 of them. They're infinite, but for the time being, there's only 6 of them in the room with you. But I think they are closer. Now, why is that important? Because if you remember the dead hand comes out only when you have given in to fear. When you have not given in to fear and you are brave and courageous and you allow the hand to grab you so that the dead hand, the monster itself, comes out. But since you have less room, it means that the dead hand is actually more deadly. It is closer to you when it comes out. You have no way of being released, so you have to get out of the way. And then the other thing, as we talked about before, is the fact that the room is not just regular walls. These are not regular walls. These are made of the dead. These walls are made of human skulls. The hands themselves are bloody. This does not happen in the 3DS version, or you guys should let me know if the Nintendo Switch Online version, N64 version, is just a remake of this, or if they had to undid all of the censorship that they did in the version 2 cartridges, or if they maintain the original. I actually don't know the answer to that because I always just comfortably play my original copy. So I don't actually know the answer to that question. But again, in case you missed the bottom of the well, you should definitely go back and watch that, because I talk about all sorts of other things. But here in the Shadow Temple, it is the dead hand monster is actually some sort of amalgamation, a creature of Japanese mythology with a very long neck and a very weird shaped amorphous jelly-like body that is supposed to be crushed by just thousands of years, millennia of just horrible things that the person who was alive must have done. And so it's some sort of reincarnation of just all the horrible things of humanity in one thing. So the face itself still looks human. It's got teeth. The eyes are sunken like the dead. There's just a whole mythology about it. I recommend Googling that sort of thing. It has a name. So, okay, you've got the hover boots. With these mysterious boots, you can hover above the ground. The downside, no traction. You can even use these to walk for short periods where there is no solid ground. Be brave and trust in the boots. Be brave indeed, because these are just the coolest things. And I actually do like the fact that they make them slippery, because once I got these boots, when I was a kid playing this game, once I got these boots, I just never took them off. And sometimes you need traction. You don't want to be playing the entire game slipping on a banana peel. But the developers of the game were smart enough to realize that people would do that if there was no downside to wearing these boots. Same goes with the iron boots. If I can just go underwater and have no problem walking around, well, then they made them so they were slow to walk in. We're also going to talk about why it's good to wear the red tunic in this temple. I'm not going to talk about it yet. When the time comes, I will. There's a very good reason. In the meantime, let's go back. And now, the key to getting out of this place is trying to go in reverse of what you already did. One who gains the Eye of Truth will be able to see what is hidden in the darkness. So they are continuously giving you clues. Now, it's about, do we go back? Yes, we're going to go back. And we're going to go back out. And we need the regular door. That is not a regular. I'm going to call those the slidey Star Trek sci-fi doors. And what we need is the door that has a regular doorknob that has the action of you actually moving forward. This gets you back to this main room. And now you will notice that make my beak face the skull of truth. The alternative is descent into deep darkness. Alright, I'm gonna do this once on purpose to show you guys that if you choose incorrectly, I actually don't know which side is incorrect. That the floor literally opens up and swallows you whole. Alright, so what you're supposed to do, again, turn on your lens of truth. And see how that skull just disappears? It's gone. That means it's not really there. So it's not that one, it's not that one. And it's not that one. This one is still there. So we need to face that spot. And you cannot let go. If you let go, it will just tell you that you have chosen, and you have chosen incorrectly. So we're going to go to the real one, which is this one here. And now, we made it. The animation took a little bit of time for some reason. But now, two things have happened. We have opened that gate. That was the animation. And now we have the hover boots. So you can actually make that jump. Alright, so we don't need much of the hook shot in this temple, but we do need something else. And this is just something that I remember. Nice. So the fairy is green here. I believe you can play like the Song of Storms or something, and you can get some fairies. Now, that's not a real door, and that's not a real wall. And this one, ironically, is a bombable wall. So every single one of these locations is actually a way forward. Now that one requires a key. So we're gonna go in here first. I actually don't know which order you need to do this in. I don't think it matters. Oh wow. Wow, wow, wow. No one likes that. And do we get the compass here? So we have the dungeon map and also hopefully the compass. And I'm losing my traction, but it's just something you either deal with or you're gonna have to annoyingly switch back between your regular Kokiri boots and the hover boots. So now we have a compass. We know which place we came from based on the location of the red dot, the red arrow. All right. This is one of those rooms, and I had a subscriber say, I don't count them. You go off of the music, the musical tones that you hear. Now this is something cool. If you just duck underneath, you don't get hit. You have to time it though. Alright. There's one over there. I do know there's a spot somewhere in here that's got a hole. So you think it's safe to walk into, and it turns out it's really not. Here it is, right there. Don't go that way. Not yet, anyway. And I take it back, we do need... need that. There's 2 of these. Oh, I missed that one. Now, is there some sort of symbology in the way that you turn on truth? Yeah. Turn it off. Yeah. 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 So one goes up, one goes down, musically. Anyway. Alright, so we're gonna fall down here on purpose. Actually, are we? Are we gonna do that? This wall, it's saying something. It says, if you want to see a ferry to the other world, come here. We're gonna come back to that. Only because we already know. I'm trying to stay along the edges here. We already know that we need a key. And we also know that we can fall down that hole later. You gotta be careful through here. Especially since you've got your hover boots, you're kind of sliding around everywhere. One thing that I find helps is do a backflip. If you're sliding, you can kind of stop your slide by doing a quick backflip while you're moving forward. Ooh, almost got guillotined there. Watch for the shadows of monsters that hang from the ceiling. Well, yeah. You know what? We are gonna head back because I just remembered something. Oh, actually, I may not have a choice now. There's no way back up, is there? Nope. Alright, I guess that's it. That's it. Trying to save some time, and that's what happens to you. So, interesting things here. There's a few. One, don't stay put too long. because there are shadows and monsters. But 2, somewhere, I think it's right there, you can actually aim. And I can't remember if there's a gold Skulltula or if there's something else that's interesting that you can do that's on this side, or if it's just the fact that you can make your way across. Which one is it? That may be what it is. So you can make your way across. Maybe that's all it was. Maybe it's just a really quick shortcut. So you don't have to do the first one. Whew! I try to get fancy. When he aims at you, you can just sort of stab him. Alright, he's falling off. That works. So, I mentioned it before in a previous video. You can do the Shadow Temple. Whoa, that was a weird animation. Alright. Alright, we've gone all the way back. Hey, that's the way to make sure you can go the other way. We're going to purposely fall down the hole that says where the ferry if you want to see a ferry to the underworld or something like that, then you go this way. So that is where we are. So the reason, I thought there was a gold Skulltula here. Oh, it's on the outside. So you are hearing a gold skulltula. You have to actually get it from the outside of this room. So the only idea of this room is, holy crap, there's a ferry. Like a boat ferry, I mean. Now, I believe they changed this. We'll actually get here in a minute. But they changed the front of the ship, of this boat, this ferry. Now why? I don't know. They animated it differently. I think they put like a Grim Reaper sort of thing. I don't know why the change, but that's just something they did. In the 3DS version and going forward, I believe. Maybe the GameCube Master Quest version. Again, if I get some of this stuff wrong, you guys let me know in the comments. So now we will go back. So I thought there was more to that, but when you're playing this game for the first time and you don't know that, sometimes you just fall through and you figure that out later. So now we are going to go ahead and go back to where we were, and I absolutely fell off. No hearts. That's another thing. Sometimes the difficulty in a game is not the fact that something was specifically difficult. It's the fact that the developers decided to just give you fewer hearts. Simple as that. Ooh. So we went all the way across. I hate we gotta fight this thing again. If you take off your shadow, your hover boots, it's a lot easier to get closer, because otherwise you're not exactly as close as you want to be. I always found it weird that the only item you can really get from them is like a Deku Nut. But I guess that's supposed to be the fact that you're killing a Stalfos, which is supposed to be a child who left the forest. Almost. So, a couple of things here. I keep getting hit. If you don't have the lens of truth, this is one of those things that's it's kind of hard to get through, because here is one of those things where you just have to kind of have faith that you know where you're going. If you turn on the lens of truth, there's a platform there. Now that one's just fine, you kind of know where it is. But then this one is moving, and it's really hard to time it. You could listen for it. If you listen, you know approximately which sound is close and which one's far away. You can sort of figure it out, and then you can make the jump and go for it. Or if you have the lens of truth, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You just go. Now I don't have a key, so I'm going to be needing a key. So I just wanted to show you that that was the case, because that is what we're dealing with here. So you can go back around. If you're lucky, you can slide through the way that I just did, but that's not supposed to be the case. Alright, we have made it to this room. Only one with the Eye of Truth will find the stone umbrella that protects against the rain of blades. Now the rain of blades, it's talking about those, and it's claiming that this is an umbrella. So that's actually a peculiar way, a funny way to name this an umbrella. I am in dire need of some hearts. Alright. So, you use this as a shield to get your way across. And there is a way if you mistime it, because there's actually 2 or 3 of these, I believe. If you mistime it, I think technically you're supposed to get on the other side of this block and pull it. But again, if you pull it and then you mistime it and then the other one hits you, that's not going to be very good. So what I do, I think there's a middle position where you can kind of get both. Yeah, so both of these are stuck. Except there's a small problem because we still need the block. I'm gonna grab whatever this is. Usually it's like a rupee or something. We still need the block over here because there's no way. Like, where are we going here? The only answer is up. So I'm gonna try to push this, and I don't know. It's probably not the right thing to do. I usually just push through it, and I kind of get lucky with my timing. But you're supposed to time it so that the spikes don't hit you on the way down. We're gonna try to just pull it this time. Now that we've already got it in place. There we go. So you can go across. And there's actually 2 different ways you can go across. You can get on top of that and go over, or presumably you can go that way. We're gonna take this route first. So again, you can go across, or you can do this. So the entire time is just teasing you, giving you different treasure chests, none of which are the key, until you find the actual key. Alright, that's a heart, that's good. Oh, another heart, that's good. And we're gonna save in case my Nintendo 64 crashes. I'm an obsessive saver, I've told you guys that every single time. Alright, so now we can go back, and we know where we're going because we have the key that we need. I went right through that spike. Wait for that one. We know this is here, so we'll wait for that. It's kind of fun to turn off the lens and just see yourself floating around. Okay, so I mentioned, a few minutes ago, I mentioned that there's a reason for wearing the red tunic. And this is interesting. I didn't know this until well afterwards, that if you wear the green tunic or the blue tunic, you take regular amount of damage from things like poisonous water, like that zombie water that's in the bottom of the well, but also like fire, flames, and apparently spikes. I did not know this. So it turns out first of all, there's spikes in this room. But secondly, what I'm just about to tell you, look at the amount of hearts that I've got and check out how much I lose. Nothing. It takes a long time to lose, what was that, a quarter of a heart? Now, if I change my tunic and I go green, see how much faster you lose your health? So, for whatever reason, the developers of the game any obstacle, anything that would be like a booby trap, whether it's flame or fire or the green stuff or spikes, they categorize them as the same amount of damage. So if you decide that you wear your red tunic in this temple, then the spikes will literally they won't give you damage. And if you pair them with your hover boots, then you take even less damage just by going across. Again, this game is teasing you. So there are a few more of these. And this one, by the way, is hidden. So again, if you're trying to do a quick temple run and you don't want to get the Lens of Truth, you have to memorize the hookshot locations for those. Oh, and I should have stayed. I should have stayed where I was, because if you were to still have that spot, it would be somewhere around there. I was very close. But you kind of need this platform so that you can use your hover boots and run across. And so now this is open, and we're gonna, of course, need it. What was that? Alright. I keep taking damage to stupid little things. Alright, we have a gold skull tool here. I want to make sure that I get this stuff. Not that I'm doing a full run, but it's still nice to get as many gold skull tools as you can, so you don't have to back up and do everything again. You know what I mean? Really would like some hearts. Nope, just arrows. Oh, so there's another one over there. You can either take your own bombs, and now this is interesting. Because you have the hover boots, you can kind of get a little closer when you throw that bomb. It turns out there's a key in here, so we're gonna need this key. And I really do want to get that piece that's up there. If y'all are still watching this, if you are still here, please subscribe. I am not leaving anything out of this game. I am screwing it up. I'm getting hit by freaking keys. I think I have to actually take out that keys, otherwise it won't let me out of this room. So I'm not even playing around. Where is that freaking keys? I'm about to get my arrows out because the hook shot is just terrible for this. He's over there. You have to take out all the enemies to get out to get out of this room. There's a heart. Thank you for giving me a heart piece back. Let's save. You serious? Alright. So again, same thing. There's a hook shot target for you to be able to go through. And if you can't see it, you just don't know that it's there, you gotta guess. Suppose there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, this room. Wait for this fan to turn off and make a run for it. Alright. And if need be, roll. Is there a heart here? No heart. Okay, can I make it across? The answer is no. So you can stick yourself on this fan here so you don't have to go across. I'll have to go to first person view so I can see. It's turning off. And then we're going to wait. I'm going to wait another round, and the reason is because you have to get all the way across and down with your hover boots. Otherwise this fan pushes you into the abyss. Alright, let's go. There we go. Okay. Now this is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, there's fans on the side. Yes, we're going to avoid those. But something else. There is something else here that's interesting. You can use your shield to deflect that, first of all. Let's get across. So it's not a real, it's not a real eye that you can shoot with your bow. Here I can hear the spirits whispering in this room. Those who have sacred feet should let the wind guide them. Then they will be led to the hidden path. That's what they are saying. So this is telling you what to do in the previous room. It's sort of interesting that the only way to get your magic power back and be shown the truth, to be able to use your lens of truth, is to kill re-deads. So what it's talking about here is the fact that over there is a room, and the only way to get across is to allow the fan to push you in that direction. You got to be careful that that thing doesn't keep hitting you. So now that the fan's moving, it pushes you in that direction. And once again, if you do not have the lens of truth, you can just make that jump by yourself and look like a total badass, because there's no other way out. There's no other way. And I need a key. And this thing's about to get me. Woo! Now this, if I remember, this is the room. Something interesting happens in this room. It is the fact that, okay, well, there's only one way through, and there's no other location where this key is. So it's hard to see because everything is brown in this room. But you go to open this chest, and it's a freaking rupee. It's like, well, what do I do? Well, now you're looking around, and of course, you've been programmed to use your lens of truth. Your lens of truth apparently is not the answer here. Instead, it's this. And maybe, perhaps, if you remember the bottom of the well, this is why. You were taught, and then still, there's nothing there. Oh look, you turn your lens of truth, and there's a chest there. So not only is it hidden with the lens of truth, it's also in a bombable spot that you can't hit with your sword because it's not a wall. So that's just like, it's one of those things in Zelda where it's just extra hidden for no good reason. I don't know. So now we are in the room. Remember, we went over this way. We were in that room. When we fell from the place that's got the spinning sides, we fell down that hole that goes up, and we looked across the cage, and there is the ferry that we were talking about. There's only one way over there, and it's gonna involve moving this block. And I can still hear a gold skulltula. And I'm pretty sure I know where it is. And you need the long shot to get it. It is on the other side. I believe it's on the other side of this, but you can only see it when you're on the ferry, and you need the long shot to go across. So if you're one of these speedrunners and you got here and you don't have the long shot because you only did enough of the water temple, I suppose you have to get through the water temple, and by doing so you would have the long shot. But what I was saying is there's no other way to reach the gold skulltula. If I remember correctly, you need the long shot to access it. So we're gonna try. Now, there's nothing else up here. It's on the opposite wall. So before you turn this on, or perhaps you do have to turn this on, there is a gold Skulltula all the way over. Whoop. That's a long way to go. Alright. Here is where I recommend you use your regular boots. Because this fairy is going to be moving, and we're going to have some enemies boarding this location. And you're going to want to have some traction. By the way, the music is exactly the same as the bottom of the well. Maybe not this specific area. So this is also something that's timed, because you only have so much time before you... there's a second one, I believe, that comes on here, yeah. But eventually, this ship crashes into a wall, and you have to get off of it. And so, if you don't dispatch of these guys quickly, somewhat quickly... It's coming up here. Now, I am going to put my boots back on. You can see us moving on the map very slowly. And so we're about to crash into that wall over there. You can actually get off here, but you were about to be told that this thing is gonna fall off. This ship is sinking. Abandoned ship. Get onto a safe platform. So there you have it. All right, I could have used that. I'm glad it wasn't a heart. Alright, we will go this way. Now this is another one of those weird rooms where you can kind of see through walls because you don't have the lens of truth on. And if you turn the lens of truth on, then it's the opposite. You can see the walls that actually exist. So it's kind of like, that's weird. The game has flip-flopped what you're able to see. And now it's a disadvantage to you when you're trying to make it through here. But we do have these floor masters, and floor masters are terrible. If they turn green, and they become. If you wait too long to take out the 3 pieces of a floor master, then they become a regular big-sized one again. So you don't want to have to deal with it. Yeah, see, it grabs you, takes the life out of you. If you're good, you can take them out. Again, you're at a disadvantage of traction because you don't have your regular boots on. So there's a few doors. So notice which corner we came from. We came from the right corner. If you're looking at the map that's in the bottom right, there are 4 corners to this basically square-shaped room. So we're not going to go in through the right side corner. We're going to call it the eastern corner. That's where we came in. And we've got a room similar to the other one that we were already in. Even down to a gold Skulltula on the wall. But this one, there are 3 of these, and the wall, or rather these skulls, are rotating. So if you don't want to use your bombs, but I recommend it because it's kind of hard to get your bombs in. You got to time it to perfection. I think I got that one. Okay. I'm gonna wait a little bit. Those are bombs. No, I think that's the key that I need. Alright, that should be the last one. Oh, so there's nothing in this room that you actually need. Is that the case? I don't know. I got a lot of rupees, that's for sure. Did I miss anything? Or is it just a room to get a gold Skulltula, I suppose? Well, I suppose that's all it is. Alright, so we said our entrance was the eastern room. And these floor masters, annoyingly, are back. So we're just gonna avoid them. Now we're in the northern corner. Oh, and this is that room. The easiest way to get through this room is to use Din's Fire. These walls are closing in on you. And you can burn wood. So that's way easier than having to wait. And what do we have here? A rupee. Oh, but we do have, it looks like, the boss key. So we definitely needed to come in here. Alright. So we have done, we're going kind of just clockwise around this thing. We have not done the western corner, I believe. I did not want to get hit. Man, the traction is terrible. That is definitely the risk you take. So that's the eastern corner. The eastern corner, that is our way back out. We're not going to go there yet. We have not gone in this door. This is the southern door. Now look at this mess. There, apart from being a floor master, which again is already annoying, there is a straight up torture device. Now this is, I believe this is where there are some differences with the version 1 cartridge, the version 1.0 cartridge, and the new cartridges that were, or sorry, not the version 1, but the versions on the GameCube, Master Quest, and the 3DS version. They took out this stuff. Or maybe they just took out the blood, but look how absolutely bloody this mess is. That is a straight up torture device, or BDSM device, who knows. And there is all sorts of blood. Might I remind you, this is an E for everyone game. So this is the same type of stuff we saw in the bottom of the well. So you come into this room and you guys tell me, I absolutely have to know because I don't actually know, if in the 3DS version and any subsequent versions, even the Nintendo Switch Online version, which is supposed to just be the regular Nintendo 64 version and not the updated one, if they change this. I want to know. I want to hear from you guys. Take a mental note of this room. Creepy, huh? There are people who... I'm a photographer, this is a random thing, but I'm a photographer, videographer. One of the things that we like to take pictures of a lot is things called liminal spaces. This is one of those liminal spaces. It's very, like, it's an empty room. It's kind of creepy, got a melancholy, eerie sort of thing. Imagine if you take away all the hub, take away all the hearts, the items, the map, the key, the rupees, all of that stuff, and all you have is just a photo of this. It would be super creepy, number one. it would have that sort of melancholy, eerie feeling. Something is not right. Obviously, this clearly is not right. But holy crap, this is a Nintendo game. This is Nintendo's biggest franchise, one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, apart from Mario. And this is what you're looking at. So, yeah, just wanted to put that out there for you guys. All right, so now we are going to try, at least, to head back to the eastern room. That is our way out. We have a key now. And there is seemingly no way across. Except for that there is. There's only one way from here to get across. I think this is a cool animation. Well, if I would do it correctly. Break up these bombs. And boom, you have just made a bridge. I think that's super cool. Alright, we have very few hearts, and we are almost at the end of this temple. Okay, you are going to need hearts. You're going to need, I'm going to say arrows. It's a good thing to have arrows. I want to pick up this pot instead of mash it with my sword, just in case I get an extra heart out of here. Nothing. It's late in the game. Let's see what else we've got here. Of course, magic. Always good. Is there a way up here? Now, I don't remember. Is there some way up there that I don't know about? I think it's a Scarecrow song type of thing. Navi, turning green, is telling me, possibly, if you play the Scarecrow song, there's a way to get that recovery heart. Because I don't think there's any other way that I know of. Yeah, that's what it is. If you play the Scarecrow song, you can hookshot up there. And you can subsequently use your boots to get up to this location. Anyway, we are almost there. And very luckily, my Nintendo 64 has not crapped out in the middle of this. Again, we are now to... That's the boss room over there. However, let's say you don't have the Lens of Truth. How are you getting across this thing? Well, this is how you get across. Whew. And you just have to know that. Alright. Woo! We had no choice. It just ran us right in. Now this is super cool. This was super frustrating when I was younger trying to play this. But I kind of have fond memories of Bongo Bongo. Now Bongo Bongo, if you really take the time to look at what he is a freaking severed thorax. I always thought it was some sort of flower demogorgon type of thing. Nope. That is where his head should be. And the rest is a thorax. Now, you don't need the Lens of Truth to do this. But it's good to to have it. Now, if you wait till he's close, you can hit him using your swinging motion. Now, here's another thing. If you come into this room and you try to play this, without your hover boots on, it is not good, because you get knocked off. I'm about to have to use one of my... fairies. It's probably going to happen. Everyone hates the sound of... He gets faster and faster, I believe. Eventually the fists come at you. If you wait too long to hit him, you get hit in a different direction. And this just sends you. It's absolutely sends you. Oh, I did not have enough time. So the entire time, the other cool thing about Bongo Bongo is literally that his drums are making the sounds bongo, 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 bongo when as you're trying to destroy him. I'm trying to grab these arrows because I don't know if I'm going to run out. It totally missed. I let loose that arrow and nothing happened. Alright. Oh, alright. I thought we were getting close there. I suppose not. By the way, if you have the Bigoron sword, you can absolutely do this in, like, record time. There is no life, there is no party left in Bongo Bongo. Not the drums, nothing. I also really appreciate how they animated the death for all of the bosses in this game, because it would be easy to do something that just wouldn't, it wouldn't be with the, what's the word I'm looking for here? Time would just destroy the effect. The way the effect looked would just be extra corny. But I think it looks really cool the way it's dissolved into these. It almost looks like the white noise on an old CRT TV when you turn it onto like a channel that, like channel 2, that's got nothing on it except the colorized version of that. The type of, if you will grant me one more, the type of feeling that you get when your leg falls asleep and it turns into white noise, but in emotion, in the way it feels on your leg, that's what I'm talking about, except in color. All right. I'm talking too much, and some of you may not even understand what the hell I'm talking about. And that's okay with me. We have finished the Shadow Temple. We have defeated Bongo Bongo, and I gave you a few tricks. Don't always use the hover boots, because as you can see, I was horrible at it. I have no traction. And sometimes use the red tunic. The red tunic helps you not get hit by spikes. And that's a cool shot, because you've got the shadow boots on. When I was a kid, I knew that scene was coming up and I wanted it to look really funny. So right before I delivered one last blow to Bongo Bongo to finish him, I put on my iron boots. So that when you go to that scene, instead of the hover boots, you've got iron boots on. Which, I don't know. It just looked funny to me. The boy with the noble Zelda's ocarina, or ocarina. As I expected, you have come. I am Impa, one of the Sheikah. So you're doing all sorts of torture, aren't you? And the BDSM, I can see. I am Princess Zelda's caretaker, Goth Girl. And I am also the sage who guards the Shadow Temple. We Sheikah have served the royalty of Hyrule from generation to generation as attendants. However, on that day 7 years ago, Ganondorf suddenly attacked and Hyrule Castle surrendered after a short time. Ganondorf's target was one of the keys to the sacred realm, the hidden treasure of the royal family, the Ocarina of Time. My duty bound me to take Zelda out of Ganondorf's reach. When last I saw you, as we made our escape from the castle, you were just a lad. Now I see that you have become a fine hero. There's nothing to worry about. The princess is safe now. Soon, you'll meet Princess Zelda face to face, and she will explain everything. That is when we, the 6 wise ones, will seal up the evil king and return peace to Hyrule. I have to stay here. You go to Princess Zelda's side and protect her on my behalf. Now I put my power, which should be helpful to you, into this medallion. And we're going with purple. Getting all these Power Rangers together. Because it's morphin' time, baby. You receive the Shadow Medallion. Impa awakens as a sage and adds her power to yours. Please look out for the princess. I noticed how cross-eyed I look when I'm looking through my glasses. There's like a glare, but also because I'm staring down and my camera is up here slightly. It looks really funny. It looks like I'm cross-eyed. I don't know. Just something I thought I'd mention. All right, everyone. That has been the Shadow Temple. So where to now? Do we keep the red tunic on? I kind of like the blue tunic. Only because I'm here, and because I don't want to start this game at the Temple of Time again. I'm going to grab this heart just before we finish. Just before we finish this this video here. You can either hookshot from that. You can stand on the. You can stand on that fence very carefully, and hookshot your way up here, or you can use the plant, which I put that there on purpose as a kid. And we have a heart piece. How many do we need? Collect. Okay, so we have a full 4 that we need to collect. Alright everyone, thank you guys for watching. Like I said before, check out the playlist. If you stayed here this long, please like, comment, subscribe. I am a small retro channel and we are trying to grow. I'm bringing you shorts, I'm bringing you live streams, I'm bringing you retro games. There are playlists for other games. And I also take requests. So I have all my cartridges below, like below my TV here that I'm playing on. I'm playing on an old CRT TV and I have all my consoles lined up. I pulled them out of storage. So if you guys have any games you would like me to play, I am a plethora of knowledge. I am a treasure trove of knowledge of some of these older games because, well, yeah, because I played them when I was a kid. And I like to see the differences and remakes and things like that, so I like to highlight those differences. It's kind of funny that this Poe followed me and it's floating way up high. Trying to get on my level, bro. I mean, Poe. Alright, we are going to finish today's video there. And then we'll just have to see what is next for us. See you guys then.